He was a PC candidate for Ottawa Centre. Mr. Decker, I'm going to give you 4 minutes. I'm going to give you 4 minutes. How are you? Good to see you.
Thanks, Ron, and thanks, everybody. So everybody who doesn't know me, I'm Rob Decker, the PC candidate in Ottawa Centre for 2011 and 2014. 2014 was not a good year for us, but I can tell you that it was a good year for Ottawa Centre. One of 3 ridings in Ontario saw an increase in PC vote, and we're going to do better in 2018. So let me ask you something. How about those Ontario Liberals? What? Can't hear you.
We wish to remain silent.
What about something called cap and trade? What about something called a debt retirement charge? And what about Bob Chiarelli and his Tim Hortons coffee? I want to tell you something. In the last election, we had a debate in Ottawa Centre, and Yasser Naqvi told a full house of people there that he expected hydro rates to go up. There was going to be no chance of any rate relief at all in Ontario. I don't like to say this too often about Yasser, but boy was he right. Since the election, Bob Chiarelli has announced hydro rates are going to go up by more than 42%. And since the election, we've heard of new plans by the Liberals that will see rates go even higher. Even today on CBC The House, Kathleen Wynne says that hydro does not set rates, that it's the National Energy Board that does it. Well, here's a little education for Kathleen Wynne. Hydro can't set a rate unless they ask for a rate increase and unless the National Energy Board approves it.
Ontario Energy Board.
So today it's a beautiful day. We're here in what we can finally say is being spring weather. It wasn't too long ago. It might have only been a matter of weeks when we were sitting at temperatures of -10, -20, and -40. Something we like to call winter in Ontario. Temperatures are so low, and Doug mentioned it today, our smart meters aren't even smart enough to do the job that they were programmed for. They're not properly reporting hydro usage. Temperatures like this year, along with Bob Chiarelli and Ontario Liberals, have created what I like to call, and my apologies to William Shakespeare, the Liberal winter of our discontent. A discontent of increased rates and announced increases over the coming months. Over 10,000 billing complaints gone to the Ontario Ombudsman. Delivery charges that are higher than hydro usage charges, and families that have to decide whether they're going to stay warm or whether they're going to eat. Off-peak rate versus mid-peak rates versus high rates. The difference between all the rates are becoming slimmer and slimmer, so that at one point it won't matter whether you do your laundry at 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning. The rates are not going to be that much different. I come from an urban riding. Many of us do. And with no mean disrespect to the city dwellers, I've been lucky to work with some of the nicest people in Ontario. Rural Ontarians are the nicest people to work with. They're the most down-to-earth, the hardest working, and the most family-orientated. Sadly, some of these families and their businesses are the hardest hit and suffer the greatest from Hydro Ontario and Hydro One rate increases. They pay unrealistic delivery charges, and on top of that, they're targeted as unwanted locations for wind turbines.
Let's get rid of that. Just put it aside.
In some areas of Ontario, hydro rates have caused businesses to leave. We heard earlier about Cambridge. Now, companies in Leamington and Sarnia have closed and put people out of work. This week, Cambridge, Toyota, one of the most profitable companies in the world, has said they're moving their most profitable vehicle to Mexico where they can make more money. Now, no one yet in Cambridge is losing their job. They're going to replace the production with a higher cost, more expensive vehicle. We don't know how that's going to work out. So for Toyota to say that they're leaving because their most profitable car, it's a shot across the bow to Kathleen Wynne, Yasser Naqvi, and Bob Chiarelli. When the World's Company says there's problems, the government needs to act. They need to do so that we can keep jobs and businesses here. So act they have. They've introduced a cap and trade agreement with Quebec and California. I'm not against any system which is going to help the climate and reduce CO2 emissions. But what I am against is any system that puts the cost down to a single denominator, you and I. We are going to be the people that are going to pay for any cap and trade. We will pay for cap and trade the same way we're paying for the damn green energy plan. So here's another number I want you to keep in mind. 10,000. 10,000 complaints to the Ontario Ombudsman. Once cap and trade kicks in, this number is going to go up, and watch it skyrocket. Stories of hydro bills reaching thousands are going to be the norm and not the exception. In Chesterville, we have a couple with a $225,000 bill that they're still trying to get resolved. In Perth Wellington, mainly a rural riding, our Ontario PC MPP, Randy Pettipies, has said hydro rates have tripled over 56%, putting rural families, businesses, and farmers at risk of losing their homes and their livelihoods. 56%. 56%, sadly, is nothing now to compare what's going to happen. Not now that Bob Chiarelli, Yasser Naqvi, and Kathleen Wynne are going to rely on private industry to purchase, hold, and run 60% of Ontario Hydro One's holdings. Unlike government-run businesses where a profit might be a nice, pleasant surprise, for business, profit is a necessity. Nobody expects to run a business and break even. The bottom line is the only line that they're looking at. Rural, suburban, and urban, we're all affected by any move this government's going to make. The Ontario government is out of touch with each voter in this province. Ontario Liberals lately have been using what we call the art of deflection, and this is my last page. Okay. The art of deflection. They have deflected unconsulted education curriculum changes with homophobic warnings.
Shame!
They have deflected the conviction of Ben Levine with saving killer whales in Ontario.
Shame!
And this week, they have deflected the sale of Hydro One with beer in grocery stores.
Shame!
In Queen's Park, we're lucky to have Jack McLaren, Steve Clark, Jim McDonnell, and Lisa MacLeod speaking for us and telling Kathleen Wynne, Yasser Naqvi, and Bob Chiarelli, and every other Liberal MPP in Eastern Ontario, enough is enough. To each of you who are here today, keep up the fight. Don't stop. What you're doing is being heard. You are thousands strong across the province. You are being heard because enough is enough. Thank you.
Much appreciated. Rob, just stick around for a second. I want to ask you a couple questions. So, will you run in 4 more years? We need somebody with your passion. Just make sure you don't fall off that because we don't need you going to the polls in a broken leg. Will you run again?
Yes, I will. I can't trust this government anymore. And the distrust I had in 2011 after that election and what happened in 2014, I'm severely afraid of what's going to happen by 2018. And I want to stand here and say we're going to fight against it and win in 2018.
Bob, tell us 30 seconds about yourself. Why would we vote for you and who are you?
Well, I have been a strong advocate for the community. I've been a strong advocate for the taxpayer and an advocate for making sure that government doesn't get too big and doesn't get in our way and make sure we do our lives the way that we can do it. We each know how to run our own family budgets. We need to make sure we have a government which is going to make sure we allow each one of us to do that, and currently we don't.
We're going to hold you accountable. We wish you very luck, and thank you very much for coming out. Excellent job. Thank you very much. Beth Trudeau, where's Beth Trudeau? I need Beth in here. She comes. She's